Billy Bob Thornton is the driving force of Goliath, and without him, the series simply would not work the way it does. From the very first episode, it's clear that the show isn't just built around a legal thriller premise. It's built around Thornton's presence, rhythm, and ability to carry contradiction. Goliath succeeds because he turns Billy McBride into more than a washed-up lawyer archetype. He makes him human, unpredictable, deeply flawed, and quietly magnetic. What Thornton brings to Goliath isn't loud heroism or grand courtroom speeches. In fact, much of his power comes from restraint. Billy McBride is broken long before the story begins, and Thornton never rushes to explain or justify that brokenness. He lets it sit in the pauses, the slouched posture, the half-finished sentences, and the look of someone who has already lost more than he's willing to admit. That kind of performance demands patience from the audience, but it also builds trust. You believe this man has lived a life before the camera ever found him. Thornton's greatest strength in Goliath is how he weaponizes understatement. When Billy McBride speaks, it's rarely with confidence or bravado. He sounds tired, cynical, sometimes even bored. But beneath that weariness is a razor-sharp mind that never stops calculating. Thornton makes those shifts feel organic. One moment Billy is barely holding himself together, and the next he's dismantling a corporate giant with a single, carefully chosen sentence. The transition never feels forced, it feels earned. The show's tone is inseparable from Thornton's performance. Goliath is bleak, cynical, and morally gray, and Thornton embodies all of that without turning Billy into a caricature. He doesn't ask the audience to admire Billy McBride. He asks them to understand him. Billy isn't fighting for justice because he's noble, he's fighting because it's one of the few things that still gives his life meaning. Thornton leans into that ambiguity, making every victory feel bittersweet and every loss feel personal. Another reason Thornton drives Goliath so effectively is his comfort with stillness. Many actors rely on constant motion or dialogue to hold attention. Thornton does the opposite. He lets silence do the work. Some of the show's most powerful moments come when Billy is alone, sitting in a bar, staring at nothing, or driving with no clear destination. Those scenes would collapse in lesser hands. Thornton fills them with internal conflict, making the audience lean in rather than tune out. Thornton also grounds the show's more heightened elements. Goliath often veers into surreal or exaggerated territory, especially as the seasons progress. Corporate villains become more monstrous, systems more corrupt, and situations more absurd. Thornton acts as the anchor that keeps the show from floating away. No matter how strange the world gets, Billy McBride feels real. His reactions feel honest. That contrast is essential to the show's credibility. What's especially impressive is how Thornton allows Billy to be unlikable at times. He's selfish. He's emotionally distant. He drinks too much. He hurts people who care about him. The show doesn't soften those edges, and neither does Thornton. Instead, he leans into them, trusting that the audience can handle a protagonist who isn't clean or comforting. That trust pays off, because when Billy does show compassion or vulnerability, it hits harder. Thornton's chemistry with the rest of the cast further cements his role as the show's engine. He doesn't dominate scenes by overpowering other actors. He draws them in. Conversations feel lived in, messy, and unpredictable. He listens as much as he speaks, which makes the interactions feel authentic rather than performative. The supporting characters shine because Thornton gives them space, not because he overshadows them. It's also worth noting how Thornton shapes the pacing of the series. Goliath doesn't rush, and that's a risky choice in modern television. Thornton's performance justifies that pace. He makes the slow burn feel intentional rather than indulgent. Each episode feels like it's unfolding at Billy McBride's speed, deliberate, cautious, and occasionally self-destructive. The story moves when he's ready to move, and that alignment keeps the show cohesive. As Goliath progresses, Thornton subtly evolves Billy without betraying who he is. There's no miraculous transformation, no sudden redemption. Growth comes in inches, not leaps. That consistency is crucial. It reinforces the show's central idea that systems don't change easily, and neither do people. Thornton understands that truth and builds his performance around it. Ultimately, Goliath works because Billy McBride feels like a man fighting something larger than himself while barely holding himself together. That balance between competence and collapse is incredibly difficult to sustain over multiple seasons. Thornton sustains it effortlessly. He doesn't just star in Goliath, he defines it. Strip away Billy Bob Thornton, and Goliath becomes just another legal drama about corruption and power. With him at the center, it becomes something more intimate and unsettling, a character study disguised as a thriller. That's why Thornton isn't just the lead actor. He's the driving force, the emotional core, and the reason Goliath leaves a lasting impression long after the verdict is read.